Hi, good morning, KW Milwaukee. It's a gorgeous Tuesday. For those that braved it out this morning, thanks for showing up. World is run by those who show up. So let's jump right into it. Got a couple things on my mind this morning. I dug a little deeper into the commission insights with what the average commission rates were last week to give you guys a bit more context and detail around some of the things that we're seeing, because I want to dispel some myths, but I also want to help you break through what you might believe to be a proverbial ceiling as it relates to how you charge and what you believe you're worth. We'll go a little bit. I have some context as it relates to the productivity of this group. We got some people to celebrate, and we have some showcase what people have done through the month of April. Sound good? All right, here we go. Mission, vision, values, beliefs, and perspectives. Look, at the end of the day, our job is to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth leaving, or experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. And we've had a variety of ways in which that's showed up within our world over the last several weeks, from Red Day to guest speakers to creating a sense of community and Havra within our spaces and through the relationships that we have. And how do we create environments where iron sharpens iron, right? And it's how we live it, it's how we breathe it, but it's also how it shows up within our culture, because we want to be known as a culture of productivity. And a culture of productivity is one that removes all the BS in order to help you get to where you want to go and why it is that you do what you do. Couple quick updates as it relates to office operations and reminders. Next week, Monday, is Memorial Day. Okay. And while yet it's not Veterans Day, I'd encourage you to go thank a veteran, because there is a veteran, I guarantee, that you know that is grieving someone that they lost, that they served with. And if you haven't experienced a Memorial Day celebration or been a part of it, I encourage you to do so. The weight and the gravity that people choose to give their lives for this country is amazing. And I actually have one right outside my front door, outside my house, that we go to every Memorial Day, and it's incredibly impactful. And it's something that I want my kids to feel a part of and understand why it is that we celebrate Memorial Day. It isn't just a day that we get off from school, right? And helping them understand the weight and the gravity of why it is that we celebrate Memorial Day. So I leave you with those words to make sure that you're paying attention to your surroundings and those that you love and care for, especially those that have served and those that have given their all, next week, Monday on the 26th. With that, from an office operations standpoint, there is no team meeting next week on Tuesday, the 27th. Okay, so plan ahead. No team meeting next week, Tuesday at 9 a.m. All right, with that, we have a handful of people that we need to celebrate for capping in the month of April. Great time of year to cap in order to take advantage of the seasonality of the spring market. So with that, let's get rocking and rolling. This person's been in our environment, I think maybe less than 6 months. I could be wrong on that, but relatively recently, is absolutely killing it, is starting to understand how to build a team. Congrats to Jess Annabelle for capping in the month of April. Next up, this person is a fierce competitor. I've known her almost since she entered day one in the market. Goes about her business the right way, provides and supports her family, and yet being a fierce competitor isn't a bad thing either. Congrats to Corey Bolt for capping in the month of April. Next up, this person's an OG out in the Lake Country office. Used to sit with me in Pauling Road back when it was 400 square feet, and we used to sit at the library tables and shoot the breeze about everything that was going on in life. Catherine Cario, congrats on capping in the month of April. Ironically, this person gave me my very first job in life. I used to stuff envelopes for her because she was my next door neighbor. And then I became her caddy when she went and toured around the state of Wisconsin and played in golf tournaments. Congrats to Katie Falk for capping in the month of April. Next up, one of those that I would consider to be a silent assassin. Does a really nice book of business, goes about it the right way with high integrity, high moral, high character. Congrats to Jill Fink for capping in the month of April. All right, next up, over in Tosa, started her career here, went off to go find other things, and then boomerang back to KW and is having great success, and has gone through some personal trials and tribulations over the last year and continues to just keep her head down and do her thing. Congrats to Carla Florence for capping in the month of April. All right, next up, out in Lake Country, same thing. Goes about her business, keeps to herself, does it in a high moral, high integrity way. Congrats to Jen Giacmantino, my apologies, for capping in the month of April. All right, Handful of more people to celebrate. It's a great month to have. This is an example of skill sets are transferable. Okay, this is a person who had 25 years in Maryland, transferred her skill set to build a big book of business here in southeastern Wisconsin, and is having a great second act to her career. Sarah Hansen, congrats for capping in the month of April. Next up, this person dispels the myth that you have to be old and have a database that is old enough to buy a house in order to have success, because this guy's saying, screw it. I don't need to be old in order to have success. And I share that with you, especially the young agents who are looking for young agents that are doing this business at a high level. Got to give a shout out to Ricky Kuiper for capping in the month of April. Next up, this person's been a part of our world for several years, always giving back, incredibly giving of her time, talent, and resources within our community, is building a team when she told me she would never build a team, but she realized that she was an attractor of talent. Congrats to Schroeder for capping in the month of April. Next up, this person's care factor is through the roof high. It's why I love him. It's why similarly he wears his emotions on his sleeve. Schweppy, congrats for capping in the month of April. All right, a few more to celebrate. This person is our Walworth County expert, goes about her business, and she also shows that despite where you are in southeastern Wisconsin, you can plug into our resources and continue to build on what it is that you do, even though the fact that she works somewhat remotely from our ecosystem here in Milwaukee, down in the Lake Geneva area. Congrats to Kristen Stahulik for capping in the month of April. Next up, a recent mom, learning how to navigate and balance life and all things that come as being a new mom, and also doing this business at a high level on PHG. Congrats to Carrie Tabor for capping in the month of April. All right, next up has been our #1 agent out in the Lake Country space, continues to build a great business, is nurturing her community and doing it at an incredibly high average price point. Becky Thomas, congrats for capping in the month of April. All right, 4 more. Next up, someone incredibly active and involved in our community. I really think believes that you can do both. You can be active within our community and build a great business. Brett Timmerman, congrats on capping in the month of April. All right, last 3 over in the North Shore on SRG. Building a great book of business, also as a staging business, is incredibly giving of her time and talent. Congrats to Nicole Wersich for capping in the month of April. All right, last 2 over in Tosa. Again, another one of the silent assassins, an attorney by trade, if you didn't know this, incredibly smart, incredibly talented, and a mother of 3 daughters. Congrats to Betsy Williamson for capping in the month of April. And lastly, not last but not least, out in Lake Country, very similarly, goes about the business the right way. Her clients feel the energy in which she has. She's always the calmest one in the transaction. Shireen Woods, congrats for capping in the month of April. All right, with that, I'm flipping it over to, I believe, Steph for some compliance updates. So Steph, what do these guys need to know?
Hey, good morning. Thanks. First, we're going to the compliance team wanted to visit the financing contingency deadline and just remind the group on what happened that financing contingency deadline passes. So I have it highlighted here, lines 281 to 283. So essentially, if the buyer does not deliver a loan commitment on or before the deadline on line 250, the seller may terminate this offer if the seller delivers a written notice of termination. So in layman's terms, next slide, Charlie. What this means, the offer does not automatically become null and void due to the passage of that deadline. So it also does not mean that the contingency has waived itself. So this is unlike the appraisal and the financing contingencies. So by the mere passage of time, that contingency has waived itself. What does happen is it opens up these seller termination rights. So now the seller can give notice declaring the offer null and void at any time until that loan commitment is delivered. Once loan commitment is delivered, even if it is after that deadline, then the financing contingency has been satisfied, and then the seller has no longer has the option to terminate. And then where we get a lot of questions really is due to that passage of time, due to that passage of that deadline, The question that we ultimately get is, can a rejection letter still be delivered even after the passage of that deadline? Yes, a buyer can still be rejected for that loan, can still deliver a notice of that rejection, and the offer can be canceled. So that's where we get our biggest confusion. We just wanted to revisit this. I noticed the last time that we talked about this was in 2022, so I thought it would be a good time to remind the group. All right, then last thing, the residential pre-agency showing agreement has now moved from a WRA form to a state-approved form. So all this means for you guys is to please make sure that you're using this form instead of the other one. Kimmy informed me this morning that the zip forms library has been updated. So you're all good there. And then anybody using .loop will get you a copy of this for .loop to make it a fillable form for you guys. And that's it. It's short and sweet this morning.
Sweet. Thanks, Lieutenant. All right, with that, we're flipping it over to Linz. Linz, what do these guys need to know about gearing up for the summer market? Vranek? Willis, is Vranek with you? No? No, I can see him moving. All right, we'll keep moving. If Vranek's here,
Hello?
just ping.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Vranek. All right, let's roll. Come on.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yay! All right. Okay, like I was saying, so doesn't feel like it. Summer's on the horizon. I wanted to gather some important tools to really help you guys maximize your impact on the market these next few months. So I've gathered just a few things that I wanted to go over with the group. So the first one is the Open House Playbook. So these playbooks are still available. Keller Williams has all of these available, and we have them on our Agent Hub on our website. And so this is really designed to provide you with the model and how to run the most effective open house, as well as walk you through the system step by step. So I think a lot of people are holding more open houses as the weather is getting nicer. So it's a great opportunity to really dive into this and make sure that you're honing in on this skill, especially if you've decided to make this part of your lead generation strategy. So the Open House Playbook is going to kind of walk you through how to maximize your time and exposure for the listing you're holding open. It's going to help you determine which house to hold open. So if you're looking to specialize in a particular neighborhood or get into a certain price point, so it's going to kind of ask you those questions to determine what's going to be the best benefit to which house to hold open, what marketing materials to create, how to market the open house, best practices on actually holding the open house and hosting it, and then the follow-up. So what do you do after you get names and phone numbers and contact information? How do you follow up with those people? So that QR code on the screen is going to take you to every single playbook that we have available, as well as the Open House Playbook.
Here's the beauty of the Open House Playbook. You want to increase your conversion rates at your open houses, follow successful models of those that have high conversion rates. That's what this is. Jump in.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're holding an open house, you want to make sure that you have the proper signage. So whether you're holding an open house or you have a new listing, take inventory and make sure that you have the yard signs that you need in order to maximize that exposure for that listing. So yard signs can be ordered on our website through the Marketing Concierge. The QR code is going to take you directly to the list of all of the signs that are available. So we've got, about 4 different open house sign templates that you can use. So whether you want A-frame tent signs or you want coroplast signs or Y-rod signs that you just stick in the ground, all of those are available. Pricing is listed on there as well. So place your order. We'll get those designed and ordered for you to make sure that you have that proper signage ready to go. In addition, we also want to make sure that you have the proper marketing materials if you're holding a listing presentation or a buyer consultation. So these again are available through our marketing concierge, and it's really going to establish professionalism and credibility. So having these designed presentations will show that you're prepared, you're organized, and you're serious about earning your clients' trust in business. So it's also going to set expectations and outline the process. So both the buyer and seller guides are going to walk through your client on the entire process. So you're setting those expectations and reducing confusion and building confidence with them. It also is going to differentiate you from the competition, highlighting your unique value, as well as Keller Williams Milwaukee's impact on today's market. You'll demonstrate market knowledge and strategy, providing an opportunity to share data, marketing plans, and negotiation tactics tailored to their needs. So if you haven't ordered these already, scan that QR code, fill out the form. We'll put this together, customize it for you. And don't forget, print options are available through Confluence Graphics. They're 5 minutes down the road from the Whitefish Bay office. These can be printed for as low as $2.50 a piece. There should be samples of these in every single office. So if you're curious as to what these look like, take a look at them. Stop by the front desk, reach out to myself or someone on the marketing team, and we'll be able to show you these in the office. But these are really nice professionally printed materials that you can provide to your clients. All right, and finally, we've got the 12 Direct campaign. So brand new is the Milwaukee Summer Festivals. So that is live and available. So if you've set up a 12 Direct campaign, or if you're curious as to what it is, really the value is to stay top of mind without being salesy. So you're sharing relevant and helpful content in a way that's authentic and valuable to your sphere. So it's also going to position you as the expert, the community expert, which, you know, it reinforces your knowledge of the community, which is a major trust builder. It's going to boost engagement. So people are far more likely to open and interact with emails that are fun and useful, such as like what's happening in Milwaukee, which is what really a lot of these are. And it's something that they can look forward to every single month. It increases referral potential. When you think of real estate, they think of you. So keep that in mind when you're setting up these campaigns. And then it also adds value beyond the transaction. So past clients, long-term prospects, they'll appreciate feeling connected to the community through your updates, keeping your relationships strong over time. So that's the value that the 12 Direct campaign is all about. So that's why we make sure to have content every single month that you can pick and choose to send out to your database and share on social media, emailing, postcards, whatever avenue you want to take with these. And if you're interested in learning how to set up that email campaign and those smart plans, join me on Thursday. So I'm going to be going through exactly how to set up those email campaign smart plans in Command, utilizing those 12 Direct campaigns. So this Thursday at 11 on Zoom. And then next week, we've got our monthly compliance and Command and zip form training. If you have not jumped on one of those, especially if you're a new agent or you just want to learn more about zip form and Command and the compliance piece of it, please join Steph and I next week, Thursday. And then finally, we've got our summer series starting June 5th, Beyond the Feed. So I'm really excited about this. We've got our topics lined up for June. So we're going to start with the introduction to Meta Business Suite. So if you're curious to learn more about how to utilize the Meta Business, join us for that first one on the 5th. Then we're going to be talking about the ins and outs of Canva. And then finally, we've got a special guest, Mr. Charles Walker, getting real about Reels. So that's on the 26th. So this will be a hybrid. This will be in person and on Zoom starting on June 5th. And that's
Sweet.
it. Thank you.
Linz and the team, our whole goal is to make your job easier in terms of how you help build and cultivate your brand. Take advantage of the resources that are available to you. It doesn't cost you anything in order to participate. But again, our goal is to give you the tools you need in order to help you build your brand. All right, I'm going to jump through now to the end. So a few reminders. We have new resources available for those that are trying to build and scale their business. One, we want to meet you where you are. You want to learn outside of the classroom. We now have everything available to you via the Google Classroom that we built with everything locally in mind. Our team locally built it based on Southeastern Wisconsin. You can get everything from getting started to command to KW documents to contract training, so on and so forth. That has training videos, quizzes, and opportunities for you to practice. Practicing on your clients is malpractice. Remember that. So meeting you where you are, you have the opportunity to jump in via the Google Classroom suite. Also, you have questions. Don't hesitate to reach out and join the Pumble platform. It's real, live brokers within our community in Southeastern Wisconsin. They're replying to your questions. And if you have a question, I guarantee you 5 other people have the exact same question. And it's a cultivation of ideation around how do we make and solve the problems we have within our businesses. And so here's an example of Dawn Shipley, one of the compliance brokers down in the Southwest office, jumping in to help support agents as they're going through and having questions throughout their transactions. Any questions, feel free to reach out to Kim. All right, education and events, iron sharpening iron. Here we go through May. As a reminder, our offices will be closed in honor of Memorial Day next week, Monday, and therefore there will be no team meeting on Tuesday, the 27th. We will see you back in June. Here you go for the June training calendar. One thing I wanted to highlight is we have the KW Luxury Community Mastermind call on Wednesday, the 4th at 10 a.m., along with a variety of other items as that you've known and come to expect from us. There's a Kohler Lunch and Learn all around building confidence when speaking with your clients when they call to ask, how do I maximize the ROI on my home? So that is on Tuesday, June 3rd from 11 to 12 at the Kohler Signature Store on Mayfair Road over in Tosa. Janine will be hosting her Mindset Mastery on June 6th at the JCC over in the North Shore at 9 a.m. So feel free to check that out. And we have Ladies' Day off on Monday, June 9th out in Richfield at the Heiliger Eagle Ski Club, all around allowing people to decompress in nature. And it was last year we did it for the first time. It was incredibly well received, so make sure you register for that. Lastly, it's not average camp, it's mega camp. If you want to learn and build how to build scale at a high level, join us in San Antonio, August 11th through the 14th. Cool? All right, so last week I shared with you guys the market insights as to what was going on through the month of April across a variety of metrics. All of those slides are available to you on the KW Realty MKE through the Agent Hub, and you can download those and repurpose them for any of your, any way you'd like. But one of the things that I got a lot of questions to and that I wanted to circle back to was this chart that I shared around what is winning. And I shared you various points in time in terms of a variety of metrics in terms of how people are negotiating and what they're utilizing in order to help win more deals in 2025. What I recapped for you in April is you can see the list price to accepted offer ratio. You can see the earnest money at 1.6%. You can see that inspection contingencies, 52% of inspections did not have, 52% of all deals in the month of April did not have an inspection contingency. And again, the caveat to this is that as listing agents, a great way to help proactively remove inspection contingencies on the front side is do a pre-listing inspection. But then I also broke down and did a little quiz as it relates to co-broke compensation with a lot of conversation that's been had through industry changes. I looked at the we looked at around 300 deals because I've looked a little bit deeper in this since. And the average deal across the 300 in the month of April was 2.35% on the co-broke side alone, which I think surprised some people. Now, here were some additional commission insights that I was able to gather by digging into identifying what that looked like. Couple things. One, the average buyer commission, as I mentioned, across the 298 deals we just reviewed was 2.35%. Okay. 2% or lower occurred in 48 of all deals reviewed, or just 16% as an incidence rate. Now, the average price point of the 2% or below was only $467,000. My take on this is it was likely used as a bargaining chip, and yet we don't know if the buyer made it up on the backside. That is the one caveat, okay? But it is definitely not an only luxury thing, as it previously and historically might have been. 2.5% or greater constituted roughly 10% of all deals reviewed. So 10% of all deals that were reviewed in the month of April that we were able to have access to the data to had a co-broke compensation of 2.5% or higher. There's a new report out of Redfin that actually showed that co-broke compensation is actually on the rise on a national level. And so I share this with you, A, to dispel some myths and rumors, to provide you data so that as people are asking you what's going on, or if they're still asking you what's going on within the data set, you can have, here's the direct raw data for us in Southeastern Wisconsin. But also the purpose of it is to give you the confidence to go seek more than what you believe your value to be. Go seek more than what you believe your value to be. Yeah. The 2.5s, they're all in the basically anything within our ecosystem. So yeah, but the Madison market is very small for us. So 98% of all our volume is in Southeastern Wisconsin. My point to it is I know, because I'm seeing it, I know people are starting to ask for 3%. And if they're getting 2.4 within a transaction, they are making it up with a 0.6 potentially on the backside. Something to think about. I also share with you the grocery store market of the moment script based on the data in terms of how do we articulate what's going on and what are the factors that are at play within the market, and share with you here. Now, a few productivity insights for the group as we look back in the month of April. And sometimes I think it's good to take a moment of reflection to understand where we are and where we're headed, and to give the group perspective around the level of productivity amongst this environment. GCI in the month of April was $6 million in GCI paid out amongst our associates. Okay. It's up 16%. Sorry, that was up 16% versus April of last year. What's more incredible amongst this group is we've paid out $17 million in commissions so far through the month of April, and it's up 26% year to date. So on average, we are paying 26, or not average, but we're paying 26% more in GCI to the group. And again, I share that with you to say it goes to the anecdotal evidence of the productivity and professionalism of this group. One of the things we like to point out too is just in terms of the economic model, and a lot of people like to talk about splits, but you can't take splits to the bank. We talk about net effective income is so far year to date, net effective split off of the company dollar we receive versus the GCI you guys pay out across the entire universe of our associates was 92.8. 92.8 was the net effective split so far year to date. Congrats to you guys on an incredible, incredible productive group. So the most profitable business model is what? Repeat and referral. Because you leverage your relationships, and your relationships and your reputation are your currency. Your reputation and your relationships are your currency. And so if you want to build an incredibly profitable business, you should be thinking about what it is that you're doing to earn more of that repeat and referral business. And I want to challenge you with something and thinking around how it is that you approach passive income, coming out of the conversation we had with Mark King, and how do we build passive income? And if you think about it in this business, we don't have retirement plans. You can do SEPs, you can do Roth IRAs, you can do a variety of other things. But passive income usually takes an active capital contribution in order for you to receive a passive income. You go buy a duplex, you make cash flow. You put capital into a REIT or a variety of other ways, you get passive income. The problem is it takes a lot of capital in order to get the passive income, a lot of active capital in order to get passive income. So one of the things I like to look at is if you had a savings account that had that delivered a 1% return, okay? Or if you invested in the S&P 500 and the average return in the S&P 500 since inception in 1928 is 10%. The active capital you would have to invest in a savings account in order to make 25K is 2.5 million. In order to make 10K in passive income, you'd have to have an active capital of $1 million. To make $2,000 on an annual basis in a savings account, you have to have active capital of $200,000. Now, if you invested in the S&P 500, and again, we're using averages since inception in 1928, which is delivers a 10% return, you have to have $250,000 in active capital in order to make $25,000. You have to invest $100,000 in order to make $10,000, or you have to invest $20,000 in order to make $2,000. The challenge is when people are trying to build their wealth, the challenge they come across isn't their want to build wealth, it's their ability to acquire active capital, right? And putting capital to use. And yet I would challenge your thoughts and actions as it relates to how you approach passive income and doing it in a way that actually doesn't require active capital. What do I mean by that? You don't have to have active capital or monetary capital to create passive income. You invest in human capital. And the reason why I share this with you is tomorrow is the 21st. And for those of you who pay attention to your bank accounts on the 21st, we make our profit share deposits. And in the month of April, I'll go back to that. In the month of April, we'll deposit $92,533 tomorrow into our associates' bank accounts. And year to date, that brings to $162,000 in terms of our active profit share participants in what is being going back to our associates. And so the reason why I use these examples of active capital in order to create passive income is our platform provides you a way in which that you can create passive income and build passive wealth by only investing in your reputation and your relationships in which you have within the marketplace. And the reason why I share that with you is because in the month of April, we actually had our best recruiting month ever, which is somewhat counterintuitive considering it's at the height of the spring market. And the reason I share that with you is to say, one, people are earning the passive income opportunity through profit share, whether you're participating in it or not. And my challenge to you is that don't allow the opportunity to pass you by. So I broke down within our environment, a capper within your first line is worth about $2,400. A half capper, which is about $1.8 million in closed production, is $1,200. And someone who's on a team in caps is around worth $800. The reason why I share this with you is you bring someone or attract someone into our environment, you can quickly build $10,000 of passive income very quickly. It takes about 4 people. And when you do that, it can grow and build compound exponentially. So I share that with you to plant a seed with you as you think about your investment in your relationships and your reputation as it relates to the currency you have within the market. And tomorrow we're going to be depositing close to $100,000 into our associates' bank accounts through the platform of profit share. Cool? So last week I shared with you guys the lore report as it relates to productivity and market share results through 2025. That was all brokerage brands. And then I gave you also as it relates to the luxury market space. And all of this is a direct reflection of the productivity that you guys have done and delivered so far through April of 2025. So let's celebrate a handful of folks. When you look at it, the Home Run Club in the month of April, this is 1 listing taken, 1 contract written, 1 contract closed, an incredibly group of people here on this list. It always grows during the spring market. And here's the challenge I would have for you is, can you make this 12 months out of the year? The reason why I challenge you to make it 12 months out of the year is this. It means you're getting paid, you're doing the activity, and you're doing the activities to continue to be paid into the future. $1 Million Month Club in the month of April. Here you can see the $1 Million Month Clubs, right? Because we are celebrating productivity, and productivity in terms of $1 Million month is absolutely incredible. And shout out to these folks that had $1 Million months in the month of April. Percentage volume increase year to date. So these are the folks that have had the highest percent increase this year versus last year so far year to date. Shout out to Austin Miller, Shannon Schultz, Jordan Tybinko, Jeff Nevin, Darshell Rauter, Taylor Kulich, Shireen Woods, Christy Sands, Ellie Valters, Amanda Schroeder, Katie Sayers, Steph Conard, Jess Annabelle, Dan Callis, and David Lopez, rounding it out for highest percentage increase year to date. Next up, GCI for agents on a team. Martha Ola coming in at number 1. Steph Miller, Kathy Shaw, Janine Werner, Steph Minnick, Melena Cortez, Casey Lopez, Jonathan Newby, Kathleen Rosenheimer, Paris Hebner, Katie Falk, William Stallé, Ginger Lazovic, Angela Funk, and Christy Sands rounding it out for GCI for agents on a team. Individual agents, so closed volume in the month of April. Shout out to Judy Moffett at 2.8 million, Jean Jaskowski at 2.7, Angela Palmer, Sarah Dreyer, Carla Florence, Tamara Bolton, Elena Zeman, Julia Jansky, Kristen Stahulik, Michaela Collar, Jessica Hanawi, Jill Fink, Lori Flatt, Shireen Woods, Joey Carini, Kathleen Clausen, Mara Krieger, Frank Cinto, Coco Wallach, and Abby Wall rounding it out for individual closed volume in the month of April. Year-to-date individual units, Molitor leading the way at 32, Oberbrunner 2, Lindsay Andrews, Carini, Alexandra, Allison Maris, Abby Wall, Melissa Bradley, Nicole Keel, CJ Lewandowski, Elena Zeman, John, Tom Martin, Ethan Masson, Kristen Stahulik, Bree Stewart, Shireen Woods, Randy Young, Julie Bulgren, and Jessica Hanawi. Year-to-date individual volume, Becky Thomas leading the way, John Molitor clipping at her heels, Elena Zeman, Robin McCormick, Sarah Oberbrunner, Jean Jaskowski, Allison Maris, Joey Carini, Tom Martin, Judy Moffett, Abby Wall, CJ Lewandowski, Abigail Jacqua, Lindsay Andrews, Melissa Bradley, Jess Annabelle, Mark Krieger, Alexandra, Michaela, and Patrick Young rounding it out for individual agent year-to-date volume. Teams for the month of April, FRG leading the way at 25.9. In the one single month, Houseworks Collective at 15.6. SRG, Fair Hinton, Root River, House to Home, the Thai team, A Key Home, PFPG, On Point, Champagne, Double Bolt, K Team, Enlighten, Duval, the Wessels, Revolution, Diedrich Sweeney, Desties, and the Gossman Group rounding it out for team volume in the month of April. Year-to-date units so far for teams, Houseworks Collective at 100, Root River, FRG, House to Home, SRG, On Point, Rutino Kuiper, Levine, A Key Home, PFPG, Fair Hinton, Revolution, MTM Collective, Duval, The Wessels, Desties, Holt, Enlighten, K-Team, and Champagne. And then here you go so far, year-to-date volume for teams through the month of April. FRG, Houseworks, SRG, House to Home, Root River, On Point, Gallagher Lake Country, Rutino Kuiper, PFPG, A Key Home, Fair Hinton, the Thai team, Duval, Champagne, Wessel, Revolution, Enlighten, MTM Collective, Desties, and Holt Real Estate. Woo! A lot of productivity amongst this group. $6 million in paid out to our associates in the month of April, 17 million so far year to date. And you guys are amongst incredibly productive group of people. Lean on the people to the left of you and the right of you. And in the spirit of graduation season, I will leave you with this thoughts. I saw this over the weekend and I thought it was an incredible message that I wanted to share with you as it relates to how we think about our business and how we think about our activities. And graduation always kind of stirs up some incredible speeches of people giving of their wisdom that they've collected over the years. And so I thought I'd share with you around a speech that came out this weekend. So take a look.
Life is hard, but you've already heard that. What I heard a few years ago was a poem titled, Choose Your Hard. It goes like this: marriage is hard and divorce is hard. Choose your hard. Obesity is hard. Being fit is hard. Choose your hard. Being in debt is hard. Being financially disciplined is hard. Choose your hard. Communicating is hard. Not communicating is hard. Choose your hard. When I heard that, it hit me like a ton of bricks. However you slice it, whichever path you choose, it's going to be hard.
There you go. Choose hard. Life's about choices. You got to live with the byproduct of your choices, guys. It's a beautiful day in Milwaukee. Have a great day. Thanks for showing up.